CFR Network, CFR News. Canadian protest, or more specifically, Ottawa protest and blockade, 29th of January. I'm sure it commenced or started. And we're getting close to a long time with a lot of trucks, a lot of horns getting beeped, a lot of fun times being had from what I can see. You know, crime rates down in the city. There's that eerie horns being beeped every you know, constantly and all that there. And why are they doing it? Why are thousands of truck drivers and others in support taking this extreme measure for weeks now to be out there protesting? I mean, let's not forget Canada and Australia and New Zealand has some very harsh measures in place. Many people would say overstepping the boundaries of governments and the rights and freedom of movements of people, etc., etc. Where you fall in that category, that's all gravy. But the interesting thing is that the Prime Minister, Trudeau, is and obviously the mainstream media are pushing a narrative. Now, this may be indeed true to a point, and as we know, the media will cherry pick and highlight certain things that they want to promote for their agenda. Now they're talking about Trump supporters, insurrectionists, that they're treasonous and all this. They're not neo-Nazi. Well, I don't know if they're neo-Nazis or would have called them Nazis. All kind of stuff. The police are confiscating petrol cans and all kind of stuff, and in essence, totally demonizing these citizens who are protesting, have come from all over the place to protest what's going on. Peacefully as well. So no buildings are getting burned down. No looting is taking place. Yeah, we're talking about non-compliance. They've got children, you know, on bounty castles and all kind of stuff. But they're getting slammed. The Prime Minister's slamming them. The media's slamming them. Why aren't they coming and saying, well, look, we've clearly got, you know, let's say a third of the populace who are totally not happy with what's going on. Where do we meet in the middle? How can we stop this from taking place? Because let's face it, if you're in like, if you've got an apartment and all that there in these places and you got horns going off and the roads are blocked up and all this kind of stuff, it's going to be pretty annoying, I can imagine. Workers and all that, I can understand the frustration some of them are going through, or potentially going through, because there is the option to work from home for many workers these days. But let's just look at it. Why isn't the government sort of saying, as I say, it seems pretty peaceful for what I'm seeing, you know, the independent reports and stuff. Mainstream media, as I say, are tarring these people as terrorists in essence. You know, I don't even see people walking around with like, well, actually saying that it's not America. I don't think you can walk around with the firearms as a citizen. But you don't even see any of that kind of stuff like you see in America when they're doing these kind of protests and all that. It's interesting to say, at the very least, how the picture's being painted, and also the lack of, as usual, like transparent or fair, non-biased media coverage. Over here, I haven't really seen much in the way of coverage of this event of of what's happening, why it's happening, how it can be resolved. Because ultimately, isn't it resolution that people should be looking for, rather than Trudeau slams unacceptable protests as police warn truckers? This is, I think, the behavior of the government is unacceptable when the people are saying, look, you need to do some things. You need to lift some of these restrictions and whatever, whatever. Don't know the full finer details of said protest. But again, in the mainstream media, it's a minority of conspiracy theorists with wearing tinfoil hats and here's the other one. Here's the other label that they want to throw out, because obviously it's about putting people in boxes. They're anti-vaxxers. They're anti-vaxxers because they want to question something. They've got questions about something. That means they're anti-vaccination. this this manicured and manipulated society that they've created is it's working for them. It's definitely working for them, but not working for everybody, clearly, because people are saying no, no, no. And based upon what's happening there in old Ottawa, you got the same thing taking place um, in New Zealand, and is it Australia as well? And as you can see, inspired by Ottawa protests, French motorists join Freedom Convoy bound for Paris. Yeah. A French version of Canada's Freedom Convoy hits the roads on Thursdays with hundreds of motorists heading to the capital. Most members oppose France's vaccine pass, but some seem to see the protest as a continuation of the Yellow Vest movement that rocked the country before the pandemic. Now, because obviously so much thing, the trauma-based mind control, the trauma that many people have faced financially, spiritually, emotionally, and all the rest of it financially, people have forgotten this. So many things are happening, so much breaking news, so much events, so much death, murder, destruction, and obviously life in between of all these terrible things. Everyone forgets the yellow vest movement. Um, it's good to see people. Uh, Maybe they wasn't even in this headspace maybe 2 years ago, but they see what's going on and that they have concerns which need to be addressed clearly, and they're doing it in a non-violent, they're doing it in a peaceful way, and people should be able to do that, to bring forth a discussion which will lead to resolution ultimately. Isn't that what everybody wants? Or is there potentially a hidden agenda? Will this spread even further? Because as we see, there was protests all throughout last year, and there's been some this year. I don't think as many as last year in many major cities across the world, with very limited mainstream coverage of these events, because people are fed up. They're fed up of what's going on.